Treating women as objects has been an age-old tradition in many cultures. In the West, images of beauty and youth have dominated the minds of women and men even before the days of Venus and Cleopatra.
We know that women are so affected by the images that are portrayed of them in magazines, on TV, all around them that show the perfect woman, the ideal woman, and inevitably they compare themselves to that woman.
This is what I find very ironic, that we try to seek liberation, that women here try to seek liberation through other means, but really they're not truly liberated because they're not psychologically liberated. They're still worrying about what do men think, what has the latest fashion designer, who is almost always a man, what has he designed for women to look good in this particular season.
Therefore we find that young women attempt to be things that they're not. We find a lot of bulimia. We find a lot of anorexia. So health issues are paramount when we begin to take those images as part of the way we ought to be.
And it not only affects themselves, it affects their relationship with each other. So that people become very unsatisfied with their partners. They become married, they age, and with aging, of course, they don't look the same that they did when they were young. And so that's it. They don't want to stay together anymore. They see all around them images of people who are much more beautiful, younger, slender, in better shape. And so they think they can go find someone like that.
Many Muslim women see their mode of dress as a form of freedom from our unrelenting obsession with the female body.
When I first started wearing hijab, it was a real relief. It was a real relief because I'd gone through the traumatic teenage years, very self-conscious about my body, very self-conscious about being fat. In fact, when I was in year 11 and 12, I was sort of borderline anorexic. I never quite made it, but, you know, I tried.
I started to get into wearing shorter dresses because obviously you do get noticed more by men. I mean, if you wear shorter things, and you know, we don't talk about that between women, but it's known that if you go to a club or whatnot, or even in the street, men tend to notice you a lot more if you'd wear like a dress as opposed to a pair of jeans. And Islam, you sort of kind of get repulsed with that sort of idea. You sort of think, well, I want the man to see me for who I am as a person, not necessarily for, you know, what I'm projecting on the outside.
Sometimes my friends, I remember, would try to adjust me and dress me, and it was just so humiliating to stand there and have someone try to dress you and make you look more fashionable. So when I started wearing hijab, it was like, thank God.
My life began to focus, and at that point I became empowered because now I wasn't waking up in the morning and worrying about what shade of eyeshadow I was going to wear. I woke up and I was more with myself and more with Allah.
And say to the believing women that they should lower their gaze and guard their modesty, that they should not display their charms except for what normally appears of them, and they should draw their head cover over their bosoms. A Muslim woman's dress is often called hijab, the Arabic word for screen or barrier. Muslim women who wear the hijab often describe it as a means of being recognized for who they really are.
So I remember the first day I put it on, and people that I didn't even know would come up to me and say salam and peace, and they would, greet me, and it was just amazing because it creates this sort of unity. Everyone knows that you are Muslim, and they greet you based on that, and that's something that I found to be very wonderful. Until this day, people come up to me and they say salam.
It was only after I started wearing hijab that I realized how relevant it was, that no matter how much I felt that I was being serious or that I was taken seriously, it really wasn't the same as my experience after I wore hijab. After I wore hijab, many types of inappropriate conversation that I didn't welcome stopped. They simply, people didn't say those kind of things to me anymore.
One of the benefits, I think, of wearing hijab are the respect you get from basic society. I'm sure there are a lot of misconceptions out there and a lot of stereotypes about Muslim women, but still, when a lot of the non-Muslims see hijab, it's almost like an instinctive feeling of respect for the hijab, maybe because it's different and it's something they've never seen before, or I don't know, maybe they just realize that it is something to be respected.
For me, this is very sort of important to who I am, because it's something that I feel is my right as a Muslim woman, and I feel that I feel a lot stronger, dressing Islamically, covering, and it's something I'm very proud of.
Rather than spending all day sort of preparing yourself for putting that body out there in front of public view, is your body in good enough shape? Is your hair the right color? Are your clothes fitting you the way that show that body off? You're preparing yourself in other ways. You're preparing yourself mentally, spiritually. Of course you want to be healthy, but your priority is not how you appear to others. Your priority is who you are, what you have to say, how you will affect others.
It's also something that protects my soul, something that protects me from the external world, and that is where I find my peace. It's that knowing that this is my shield, where no one is going to judge me on my physical appearance. They're going to only judge me on what I have to say and what's on my mind.
The sheer number of women choosing to wear hijab has become something of a social phenomenon in Muslim and non-Muslim countries. It's also spawned an alternative fashion industry that offers women a wide selection of hijab styles from all over the world. An important element of modesty in Islam is that it holds both genders responsible for establishing a proper code of conduct. This holistic approach promotes cooperation between men and women rather than confrontation.
I think the Islamic approach to modesty is very practical. Actually, I think it's more than practical. I think it's deeply wise.
God has created this attraction between men and women. It's something natural, it's something normal, but within a certain context. And taking that into account, this is why I think the onus of modesty is placed on both. Both men and women are individually responsible for their actions, and both will be accountable on the Day of Judgment for what they do.
It means that the space between men and women is very wide. And it means, therefore, that if I'm a man or a woman, across gender, Islam prohibits the touching, the gazing, the leering, the slurs, the jokes, the remarks which are demeaning or disrespectful to man or woman. And those are very much, by the way, written into current policies in many of the institutions and communities I work with.
A woman would not sit alone with a man who's not her relative. She would not go out with men to whom she was not related. And this really cuts down on a lot of problems that you have where friendships develop into things that weren't expected.
Every day you go out on the bus and I'm standing there and you watch a young woman walk past a group of men in her little miniskirt, and you watch the men watch her walk past. I mean, to me it's just like so obvious, it's so clear. She doesn't have a clue she's been watched.
Hijab for both men and women helps sort of to keep people at a point where it's not just about sort of that physical element, but you can deal as individuals.
If I look back on the problems that I had before I was Muslim, a lot of them had to do with the fact that there were no limits between men and women in terms of their socialization, and it led to a lot of situations in which you would find yourself uncomfortable. Those things are solved in a Muslim community in which Muslim men and women observe those limits.
Among close family members, men and women are more casual with one another. For example, a Muslim woman does not have to wear hijab in front of male relatives with whom marriage is not possible. Such relatives would include fathers, sons, brothers, uncles, grandfathers, and the sons of brothers and sisters. Special regard is given to the right of intimacy between husbands and wives.